I spent the majority of a 20-year career abusing alcohol. It was probably 2020 when I just kind of really tanked. Disassociated myself with them, with all of my family. I just was really disconnected. On that October morning, I woke up and I could see the hand of God. You know, that desire to live righteously, you know, I had this inner desire. I felt an inner person inside of me that was good, that still yearned to come out. Just couldn't after all those years of digging. It was like he just immediately removed the veil and opened my eyes and my heart to his word and his majesty. I mean, it was a light switch. I immediately scoured the radio waves looking for Christian music, really a genre that I never appreciated. I found Air One and came across the first song was Josh Baldwin's Made for More. But I was just consumed by just a great feeling. I no longer hated myself, and I felt like I could feel God's love. Fast forward 5 days later, I'm sitting in the congregation in the back in the risers, attending Sunday service. I felt like this started a little differently than normal, and it was a video. It was a video of a young woman named Shelby, and she spoke of her battle, addiction, and just not really loving herself and not feeling that she was worthy of forgiveness. But like I said, I hadn't been to church in quite some time, so here I am 5 days after my transformation began. Pastor David gets on stage, and we're in the middle of a series called Made for More. You know, again, I was in the back risers. I remember asking my wife if she was seeing what I was seeing, and it was the entire congregation just blurred out of my vision, and there was only 3 of us there that day. It was the Holy Spirit, Pastor David, and myself. The following day, Monday, I'm playing in a golf tournament at the local country club here. I'm paired with 3 members that I didn't know. We begin playing, I get to the second hole, and I come out with it and tell them, no, I used to be an alcoholic, but God saved me just a week ago. Something I would never do to just kind of strangers or people that I just met, and turns out they were men of God. They were actually members of this church. They fought issues too that they shared with me. After that, I started seeking volunteer opportunities. How can I get involved? I need to immerse myself into good things. Alcohol, it never crossed my mind. The desire was gone. Depression, anxiety, gone. It was just an immediate 180 in my life. And so I reached out to Pastor Michael, and I got involved in children's ministry, helping out with BK Kids. I got involved with Beltway Garage when I have time, and I try to stay up with that. On April 9th, 2024, my oldest daughter, Molly, had a seizure before school. Just a couple hours later, I'm riding in an ambulance to Cook Children's so she can have a baseball-sized tumor removed from her brain. This all came as a shock because there really were no symptoms leading up to this, but once again, God showed up. And I have the luxury of hindsight, and looking back, I can see how God prepared me for this journey. God was like, hey, I got this. I'm actually going to use you throughout your time there to help others. Arrived at Cook's and was surrounded by like-minded parents, people that we were all in the same boat together. Immediately, it was just like we just began sharing love for one another. It was just an amazing journey to see during a difficult time, my daughter going through 4 brain surgeries and coming out unscathed, and just finished 7 weeks of radiation just a few weeks ago, but is a totally normal 12 or 13-year-old now. Without that journey that had begun in October, I couldn't have been that steady rock for my family that I needed to be during that time. And we're just so thankful for God and what He's done in all of our lives, but for picking me up in that October morning was life-changing.